I'm Anil Kumar. Let me thank all the viewers and subscribers for taking keen interest in my videos and contributing in so many different ways. In this particular video, I want to especially thank Mr. Francis Jr., who is our recent subscriber and who has really contributed a lot in just a few days. And I welcome his friend to also join this group. Now, one of the good resources which he has shared with us is about sample test questions from international schools assessment. In this particular video, I am going to take a few questions from this assessment which are good enough for grade 7, 8, 9 and 10 students. I like to provide you with solutions which can always help, and then later we'll provide some more questions which will help students taking these tests. In case you have any related questions, you can always email me on the address given here. Now let's take these questions one by one and answer them. Now let us solve the questions in this sample paper one by one. I'll provide you with simple solution which will help you understand the concepts. The first question here is based on a spinner. In a game, this 8-sided spinner is used. In the diagram, the spinner shows miss a turn, which is this one, right? Miss a turn. Question number 1 is, the spinner was spun 200 times. About how many times would you expect the result go to jail? Right? Which is right there, go to jail, right? So the question is, about how many times would you expect the result go to jail if you are spinning it 200 times? So since this is 8-sided figure, the chances of the spinner landing at go to jail is 1/8, right? So for this it is 1/8. Since we are spinning it 200 times, it should be 1/8 of 200 times, correct? Which is, of should be replaced by multiplication whenever we are considering equations, correct? Now if the calculator is allowed, you can easily calculate the answer. If not, we could simplify it, right? So we could divide by, let's say 2. So if I divide by 2, we get 4 and we get 100. And we know 4 goes into 100 25 times, correct? So that goes 25 times. So the answer for this should be 25. Perfect. So if the spinner spun 200 times, about how many times would you expect the result go to jail? The answer will be 25. Clear? Second question based on the same spinner is, in one game, the spinner landed on miss a turn 30 times. What is the most likely number of times that this spinner was spun? Show your working. So let me use the same diagram and we'll do question number 2 in the space provided here itself, right? So we'll provide solution of question number 2 here. Now if you look at miss a turn, it is basically 3/8, right? So there are 3 out of this. So the probability or the chances of landing on miss a turn is 3/8. If you get 30 times, you want to find the spinner landed 30 times. So what we are given here is that we are given the result 30, right? What was the most likely number of times that this spinner was spun? So if it was spun n times, then the chances are 3/8, right? So it is kind of like this. 3/8 of n is 30, correct? So in this case, in question number 2, the scenario is slightly different. We are seeing the same equation in a different way, right? We have to now find the number of turns number of times this spinner was spun. Now we can actually solve for n by cross multiplication. So n is equals to 30 multiplied by 8 divided by 3. Correct? So when you divide by 3, you get 10 here, and 10 times 8 is 80. Perfect. So the answer for B, or the question number 2 here, is 80. The work is shown above. Is that clear to you, right? So I hope the solution of the first question is absolutely clear. First two. Now let's look into question number 3, which is Sally's heart beats 80 times in 1 minute. Sally wants to work out the number of times her heart beats in 1 day. Which one of these calculations should she do? Right. So what we are given here is, it's like conversion of units, right? We are given 80 times in 1 minute, right? So it is 80 times per minute. So that is per minute, right? So per minute. What we need to find is, Sally wants to work out the number of times her heart beats in 1 day, right? So in 1 day, as you know, how many minutes are there? In 1 day, there are 24 hours, right? First thing. And in 1 hour, we have 60 minutes. So we need to convert this basically to per day. So we know it is 80 per minute. That is how we'll convert. Now, 1 hour is 60 minutes. So we can multiply this by 1 hour and 60 minutes. Since 1 hour is 60 minutes, this is 1. Perfect. That is how we convert units. And we know 1 day is 24 hours. So we can say 1 day is 24 hours. Now as you can see here, the units conversion. Minutes cancel. You see that? Hours cancel. What is left is the answer, which is 80 times 60 times 24 per day. Do you see that? So you get 80 times, these dots are also times, right? Times 64 per day. So the calculation required is the one where all this is the sequence. So the answer here is the third option. Clear? Question number 4. John's heart beats 70 times in 1 minute. John wants to work out the number of hours it would take his heart to beat 1 million times. So now we are given total answer 1 million times, and we want to find the number of hours. Again, let's look into the units. We have 70 times in 1 minute. So we have 70 times in 1 minute. We want to find in 1 hour, right? So in an hour, we know that 1 hour is 60 minutes, correct? So same conversion of unit we have applied. Minutes and minutes cancel. So what we get? We get 70 times 60 per hour, correct? So which is 70 times 60 per hour. Clear? Now, the question is, John wants to work out the number of hours it would take his heart to beat 1 million times. 1 million is 1,000. So you have to divide by the times it beats in 1 hour, correct? To find the number of hours, right? So when you divide this by 70 times 60, that per hour now goes on the top, you get the number of hours, right? Which is also option number 3 for us, right? So, no, we have to divide by their product, right? Which is option number, so 1,000. So 1,000 and option number 1. So you have to be careful here. So we got 6 zeros divided by 70 times 60. Is that clear to you, right? Now question number 5, which is also related to similar unit conversion. It says, Sally's heart pumps 270 liters of blood in an hour, in 1 hour. How many kiloliters of blood does it pump per day? 1 kiloliter is 1000 liters, right? Since we are interested in kiloliters and we are given liters, what are we going to do? We'll actually divide this by 1000 to get kiloliters per hour, right? So we have 270 divided by 1000. So that becomes so many kiloliters in 1 hour. Is that clear? Now the question is, how many kiloliters of blood does it pump in day? Now in 1 day, we have 24 hours. So we'll multiply this by 24, correct? So what we get here is 270 divided by 1000, which is 0.27 times 24, correct? So that becomes our answer. So let's use calculator to calculate this value. We have 270 times 24 and we are going to divide this by 1000. And what we get in decimals is 6.48 kiloliters. Is that clear? So that becomes your answer. So we can write here 6.48 kiloliters. Is that clear? Now let's take the next question. For question number 6, we are given a brick wall. So here is the diagram which you need to study carefully. Now these are the bricks. Mortar mix is placed here in between the bricks, right? So mortar mix is placed between the bricks to form the joints. 1320 millimeters or 1.3 meters, 32 meters is the length of this and the width shown as 110 millimeters. The question is, when the 10 millimeter joints are added, each brick is 240 millimeter in length, 86 millimeter in height and 110 millimeter in width. So these dimensions which are given to you, they include the joints, right? So it is important to note that here this width is included, right? So the brick shown includes this joint. Do you understand? It includes the joints. Now based on this information, we have 2 questions. So let's look into the first one, which is question number 6. The thickness of the brick wall shown above is 110 millimeters and its length is 1320 millimeters. The height of the wall is closest to what? So we have to calculate the height of this wall. Okay, so let's look into this diagram once again. So we need to calculate what is this height from here to there, right? Okay. How do we figure this out? Now here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 5 rows have a thickness of 86. So times 86. Since this mortar mix is included here, right? And now this much is how much? Now that is standing brick of 250 millimeters, right? So that much is 240 millimeters, I'm sorry. So that is to be added. So you have to add these 2 quantities, right? So standing and those which are laterally placed. Let's calculate this. So we have 5 times 86 is equal to 430. So this number here is 430. And when you add 240 to this, you get your answer, which is 670, right? So the option, which is 670 millimeters, is the right option. Clear? So the thing is that we have already added this mortar in the dimension. You have to be careful about that. Question number 7 is, the number of bricks needed to build a wall of this type 4 meter long, right? So if this wall is 4 meters, when we say 4 meters, we also mean 4,000 millimeters, correct? 4 meter long is closest to what? So we have we are given few options. Let's figure this out. Okay. So let's again work with the diagram given to us. Now, this from here to here, we are extending to 4,000, right? Millimeters. Okay. So these bricks, how many will there be? Since this is 240, let's divide 4,000 by 240. We have converted that to millimeters, right? So what do you get? When you divide 4,000 by 240, you get in decimals 16.6. Correct. Now 16.6, as you can see here, the ones which I'm going to mark will actually take 17, right? So these ones, you need a full brick to break, right? To make it 16.6. So we have here two options. One is the brick could be 16 or could be 17, right? So these ones which I have marked, there are 3 rows of these. So it is 17 times 3 here. The other two will have 16 bricks, right? One less, correct? So that should be multiplied by 2 since we have 2 of those rows, right? So we have these 2. So I'll multiply this by 2. So that gives me bricks which are placed in this fashion, right? So how many are these? Let's calculate. So 32. 2 times 16 plus 17 times 3 gives us 83. So we get this number as 83. Now we have to figure out how many are these standing bricks. The width of each is 86, correct? So this time we are going to divide 4,000 by 86. 4,000 divided by 86 is equal to, in decimals, 46.5. So we are going to round this to 47, correct? And now let's add them up. So if you add 47 to 83, what do you get? We get 130, right? So the option, which is 130, is the right option. Is that clear to you? Correct? So that is how we are going to answer this particular question. Perfect. Now let's move on and take the next question. Question number 8. It is also based on the same brick wall. The question is, the ratio of cement to sand for the mortar mix in the joints is 1:3. To lay 1000 bricks, 0.24 meter cube of mortar mix is needed. How much sand would be required to make the mortar to lay 1000 bricks? Show your work. So we are given that the ratio of cement, let's write cement, is to mortar mix, which is M, is 1:3. That is what we are given, right? And we are also given information about the quantity for 1000 bricks. So if we are using 1000 bricks, in that case, we are given total of 0.24 meter cube, right? So we have here total, and we are given for 1000 bricks, the total is 0.24, right, meter cube. What we need to figure out is how much sand would be required to make the mortar mix. So this quantity is required. Right? So out of 0.24, how much will be mortar and how much will be cement? How do we figure this out? Well, to solve such question, what we should do is, we should consider the total quantity. If we have a total quantity of 1 plus 3, which is 4, in that case, cement ratio is 1 and sand is 3. Now in our case, we have 0.24. So what we can do here is that we can divide this into 4 equal parts, right? So we can divide this into 4 equal parts. So 0.24 divided by 4 will give us 0.06. So 4 equal parts are 0.06 each. Clearly, 1:3 means out of 4 parts, 1 go for the cement, which is 0.06, and the remaining 0.24 minus 0.06 is 0.18 goes for the sand. Correct? So you have your answer, and that is how much sand will be required? Sand required is 0.18 and the units are meter cube. Correct? Perfect. So what you do here is basically, just to make a note here, out of the total, which is 0.24, you divide this into 4 equal parts, and for sand multiply by 3. Correct? So that is the sand. So that is how you calculate. Correct? So in this video, we'll do up to question number 8. The next question we'll take in part 2, which is a very interesting question based on a fence. I hope you understand all these questions fairly well. Feel free to write your comments, share your views, and if you have any questions, you can always email me to the email address shown here. Thanks for your time and all the best.